evening. We are here talking with Shruti Swaroop as part of the business of coaching and offering from Simply.Coach. Hi, Shruti. Welcome.
Hi, Ram. Thank you so much for having me here.
Lovely. So, for all of you who don't know Shruti, a small introduction from my side. She is an executive coach and a diversity and inclusion consultant with more than 2 decades of HR experience. Sorry. Uh, she completed her coaching certification both through Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Centered Coaching and with ICF. She has coached over 200 individuals, including CXOs, and has more than 2,500 hours of coaching experience. She founded Embrace. Which year was that, Shruti?
That was in 2017, formally in 2019, with the paperwork and everything.
Yeah, and with the intent of enabling organization to become more inclusive and for people to shift mindset and become successful in whatever is their calling and higher purpose. We will talk about Embrace also on the name and her background and that got it in. More about Shruti. She's a TEDx speaker and she speaks at various panels on women leadership, coaching, growth mindset, and confidence. Her articles have been published in HR Director magazine UK and her blogs are published in the NASCOM community regularly. Her trademarked inclusion measurement tool, Embrace, has been published by Springer Nature. She is also an SHRM master facilitator and facilitates learning programs on a variety of topics, including leaders as coaches. Shruti, anything I missed out in your intro? Anything that you'd like to add for all the people who are listening to us?
No, this is good. My introduction is always, I get pretty embarrassed by it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Um, a lot has been achieved in a short time, Shruti. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on Embrace. On your LinkedIn profile, you have something about coming from a defense background and how diversity and inclusion. Could you talk us a little bit about that and Embrace as well?
I think most defense people will agree, and most of us Fauji brats, as we call ourselves. While we're growing up, I don't think there's been any conversation about. So we are two sisters. I'm the younger one. While growing up, I have never had any conversation around my gender, never had any conversation around religion. I don't remember any conversation around who was from which background, food habits, um, any kind of differentiation. We were all friends, we were all together, we were all growing up, obviously had a similar background in terms of our upbringing. So the fact that there is differentiation, the fact that people look at anybody differently based on their caste or language or education or gender is something that I did not know till I joined college. So till 17, 18, I remember coming to Delhi University and suddenly being exposed to a different world where one of the first questions used to be, oh, you are a Swaroop. Where are Swaroops from? What's the background? And there was this differentiation. And that was very new to me. I just didn't know. And even today, I struggle with those conversations. So somebody would start a conversation saying, oh, you're from this part of the country, oh, so you must be liking this kind of food, or how come you know so many languages? So I think I get very uncomfortable with those conversations even today.
And how did this all come together when you were founding Embrace?
I got married and moved to London, and London was a very different world altogether in terms of diversity, so to say. In the sense that we, in my office, we had people from Canada and Poland and Australia and um, Uganda and Indians and Pakistanis. We were all working together. And and I remember I was expecting our elder one, and there was an entire process in place that if there's a fire that happens, pregnant women will be treated differently because they'll be first to leave the building. And then I saw how every kind of processes that were in place to ensure that nobody would feel different. When I came back to India, for me, it was like, okay, you're coming back to your country. It's easier to find a job. You are far more welcome. That was not the case. What I struggled with was that, oh, you're 4 years of experience, which is not Indian experience, plus you've taken a break because I had my two kids as well around the same time. So it kind of, I felt very odd. And then I remember going for an interview once, and there was this manager who herself had come back from a maternity break, and she interviewed me and she said, "But Shruti, you won't be able to do this. You're a returning mother. I don't think I want to hire a returning mother for this." And I stopped short of saying, "Listen, you just told me 2 minutes back that you're a returning mother. You joined yesterday." Um, so I guess the entire thing was Embrace came into existence because I realized that there is a need for creating a world of acceptance, irrespective of differentiation. So if you look at our tagline, also it is respect and acceptance. And because I'm a coach, because I wanted to focus on inclusion, and let me make it clear, I don't focus on diversity. I focus on inclusion, which is a behavioral aspect. The thing was that coaching is about accepting yourself, inclusion is about accepting others. So embracing yourself, embracing others. So I thought, let's make it simple. Let's keep the name Embrace. And that's how Embrace as a name came into existence. So Embrace focuses on these two pillars of coaching and inclusion.
Since our audience is primarily coaching, I'm going to stick with a lot of coaching related questions there. Um, so forgive me for that, and also, feel free to break the rules as you go through it, right? Um, Becoming a coach, talk to us about your journey and the decision making process. How was it to say become a coach? All of that.
Ram, actually, you possibly don't know this, but you were very instrumental in making me a coach.
Okay, I didn't know this.
Yeah. So, this is a time when about, I think way back in 2015, 2016, when I was struggling to find my feet in, I was dealing with the CEOs and CXOs and board of directors, and I just wasn't able to get through to them. And I remember at some stage, I think we interacted, or I heard about you, or I saw something where I realized that you've done this Marshall Goldsmith certification. And I was like, okay, maybe that's the answer of problems. Maybe by doing coaching, you will be able to get your point across better to
Hmm.
these senior people that you're interacting with. So that was my understanding of coaching back then. And so, because I had seen you do that certification, I reached out to the Marshall Goldsmith team and got myself certified. And so, unknowingly or knowingly, you're the reason why I'm into this field. So, I know this is news for you.
This is news, and thank you for that. So you did the certification. What were some of the things that you did to gain momentum in your coaching journey?
Uh, so I did Marshall first, then I got into ICF. So for me, it was the other way around. I then I did ACE. So obviously it was ACC first, and like most of us, you think you've got your ACC, you have Marshall Goldsmith, you've figured it all out. And so step by step, started doing coaching. I reached out to friends, I reached out to ex-colleagues. And I think my understanding of coaching is obviously changed through this entire process. And for me, coaching has become more about a journey into my own awareness. And it's interesting, every coaching interaction that I have, I always find that I get answers for my own personal life or situations where I am stuck, or somehow it just happens that, as- the coachee will come up with something that I've been thinking about, and I'm like, oh wow. So in this entire two-way journey, I find my answers. And I've realized coaching has led me to understand my own reactions far better, create boundaries much better, um, have deeper conversations rather than the shallow conversations that one would earlier have. So it's been a very, very interesting journey.
Moment in this journey, trickiest coaching moment?
Many. I can't tell you one. There's so many. When we all become coaches, and you would agree, Ram, when you become a coach, I think the biggest thing is you start judging yourself because you want to get answers, right? You hope that the person finds something when you're in the first few hours or first 100, hours. It's about there's a constant self doubt and self judgment. So many of those, and then thereafter also, there have been many. There are many when you're doubting
Anything in
yourself.
particular?
I'll end up sharing many people's personal life stories if I talk about that. But many, honestly, many. Many because sometimes, as I said, the topics that come up are so close to your own heart. The experiences people share are so close to your own challenges. And you have to detach yourself as a coach. You have to detach yourself and not get into that entire. Your emotions are not supposed to be at the table at that point in time. So I think in the first few, many in fact, hours, that was a challenge. Even thereafter, at times when the coach is talking about their own personal challenges, which are also close to you, or you're going through those challenges, which each one of us goes through. I mean, we all have our challenges, and at times, just being dispassionate about it, while at the same time being involved, being present, being fully there with the coachee, but not putting your emotions at the table. I think that about their own personal challenges, which are also close to you, or you're going through those challenges, which each one of us goes through. I mean, we all have our challenges, and at times, just being dispassionate about it, while at the same time being involved, being present, being fully there with the coachee, but not putting your emotions at the table. I think that
Very important
I
aspect,
don't know
right?
if I'm making sense.
No, no, it does, right? While you might have faced a situation like that, you don't want to put yourself in there and then map it back to your coachee and assume that they are going through the same set of emotions, or they are struggling with the same set of challenges there. So definitely able to relate with that.
And everyone's definition of that emotion is also different. If I say I'm feeling sad, my definition of sad may not be the same as your definition of sad. It's such a subjective thing. Emotions are so subjective.
About staying detached, being dispassionate, how do you keep growing as a coach? Is there any formal thing that you do?
So in terms of formal thing, one is obviously from ACC we moved to PCC. I keep listening to the webinars. I'm a part of Institute of Coaching, so I'm part of the master classes that happen. I keep listening to those webinars. I keep reading the up-to-date articles that keep coming there. So I'm very regular Institute of Coaching, and I think there's a lot one gets to learn from there in all spheres. So that is the formal part of it. The informal thing, I think, as I said, we grow as a person with every coaching session. Every coaching session is takes you a few steps closer to, and in fact, that's the wrong way of saying it. I think it just unpeels. It's like an onion, right? It just there's a different layer that gets peeled off after every coaching session. Like, oh my God, I just got to know something new about myself, or something new about people, or something new about emotions. And as I said, for me, coaching is while it is about people and it's about helping people and it's all of that. I think for me, it's been a journey of self discovery, and which is what attracts me most to it because, as I said, I just get to know more about myself.
The onion analogy has been used a lot in terms of self-discovery itself, right? Um, do you prepare for a coaching session? Do you have a ritual? Is there something that you do specifically?
I just take myself to the table.
Is it when you're prepared that you go through the best coaching sessions, or when you just show up to impromptu, which has worked for you better?
That's very interesting because I remember when I started, and I'm sure I can say this on behalf of a lot of coaches. When you initially start coaching, you do prepare, and I will be lying if I say that I don't prepare, because obviously you read, you know what you're going there for. You go through the previous notes. If there's if there's any psychometric assessment that has been shared with you, so you go through all of that. But I think my sessions are very informal. I don't follow a particular process. I have always let my coachee guide the session. I have always let them drive it the way they want to, very gently nudging them on the way, in terms of introspection, in terms of their journey of self-awareness. Yeah, so it's very, I just go with the flow.
in going with the flow and going through this journey of coaching, is there any one mistake, and mistake is a very big word out there, one thing that has given you the biggest learning for you as being a coach?
Takes me back to your previous question about preparing or not preparing, because there are moments, right, where you take yourself for granted or a coaching session for granted, and then you realize, ouch, I should have prepared more. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's a journey, it's learning, and Ram, you would agree, you're far more experienced than I am in this. Um, and you're right, mistake is possibly a very big word, but it's the moments when when you feel I could have done this better, or this could have been done better, I could have been better prepared. There's so many things, and I think anybody who says that they don't go through a moment of self doubt in any session, or even otherwise, I think I think we all do that. We all go through those moments. I'm
Okay.
not perfect. I'm not striving for perfection.
No, no, and I don't think that word even comes in there. It's just a journey of evolution. Keep on progressing from one level to another. Okay, so we're going to shift track a little bit. Talking about the business of coaching itself, right? And you've been around the block, India globally. What are some of the big trends in leadership development coaching that are personally exciting for
I think there's so much work which is happening in this space. There's so many conversations. I keep seeing something new or the other that's coming up. So, conversational coaching and various kinds of coaching that are happening across the globe. What I do see is that if you go to say the US, or you are speaking to somebody in Europe or in UK, the acceptance of coaching, to me, at least that's my experience, I think it's far more than what we have in India. The understanding of coaching as a concept is far better here. I have struggled, at least, and that's as I said, that's my experience. People are trying far more outside in terms of the areas people can be coached on. There is a lot of focus on other things besides just communication coaching or leadership coaching. I think people are opening up to realizing that their coaching can actually make you look inwards far more in many spheres of life. So that is something. But as I said, that's completely my experience. I may not everybody may or may not agree.
you? Who's contemplating on becoming a coach right now? What advice would you give them?
I may come across as slightly judgmental. I think one needs to know oneself a lot more before jumping into coaching. Or the other way around, if you want to really become a better coach, spend a lot of time doing self coaching, understanding your own reactions, understanding your own trigger points, understanding what works and what does not work. Because when you are fully present in a coaching session, when you're listening with your entire being in a session, um, a lot of times, if your own level of self awareness is not as much as it should be, you will not be able to not bring your emotions. Your emotions will come into the play. You will bring your experiences on the table. You will um, it just gets very messy. So I think one needs to, by all means, become a coach. It's a great thing. We do need coaches, and though we have a lot of coaches, especially India, I think happens to have possibly the maximum number of coaches within the country across various kinds of coaches. um, but I think jump, but also spend some time learning how to swim and learning your own ability to not drown before you start saving others, if that analogy makes sense.
Now, there is one tricky aspect of somebody who is moving from a full-time job, fixed salary, to becoming an independent coach, right? Um, Talk to us a little bit about how you manage that. How did it feel? Any advice for our coaches?
That's a very tricky question, and I'm thinking how to answer that. You put me on the spot. Yeah, for someone who is sitting in a senior position, high pay package, moving into coaching, it'll take a while before money starts coming in. Yes. It's not easy. It needs a lot of networking. It needs a lot of experience. It needs a lot of hours at the table to really get there. I don't coach for money. I don't work for money. I don't think there is anything that I'm doing for money. I just do it because I like doing it. For me, when I wake up in the morning, it's more like, wow, another day. I coach another person. I'll do another workshop. I'll spend time with another person or a group of people. That is what makes me wake up in the morning. That is what makes me research more so I can add more value. That is what makes me learn, grow, network, meet people, because I am continuously adding value to someone's life. And that is what is my purpose. Or, I mean, I'm using purpose is a very big word, but I think that's what makes me wake up in the morning in a very simplistic word. But if money is the reason why someone is becoming a coach, I think that's the wrong reason. It takes a long time for money to start trickling in.
What else would you be doing right now?
Sorry, if I was not coaching, I, I just keep myself anyways busy. I do workshops, I do coaching, I do mentoring, I do writing, I teach at business schools. There is so much I do, so I don't think I'll ever be short of something to do. So if I'm not coaching, I'm doing one of these other things.
How do you kind of juggle or prioritize between all of this? What do you use to say this is more useful way to spend my time versus this?
I don't prioritize. I just go with the flow. So I just, these are these 4, 5 different buckets, whether it's teaching or it's mentoring or it's coaching or it's workshops or it's just being with these young college kids, or building Embrace as an organization. So the entrepreneurship part of it. Um, it's, I think calendar helps me the most. I just calendarize things and just keep doing them very blindly. There is no method to the madness. It's complete chaos. How do I juggle? I have no idea. I just love it. I love the madness. I love the chaos. And I wouldn't want my life to be any other way. Though I have to tell you, I keep getting feedback from people that you're so busy, you hardly have time for us. But as I said, I just love that hustle. I think that's what makes me wake up in the morning.
The word that you keep using earlier on also you said I go with the flow when it comes to a session. Now also you use that. Talk to us a little bit about flow. Is that part of your general philosophy? I would love to hear that.
Now you're coaching me, Ram.
Questions.
Yeah, it comes naturally to you, doesn't it?
Listen.
Um, is it general philosophy? Yes, I think so. I have realized over the last many years now that I tend to jump first and think later. Can you call me reactive? I don't think so because I don't jump in everywhere. Can you call me somebody who does things without thinking, what impulsive, or impulsive is the word that some people may use. But no, it's not that I jump everywhere. I know where I'm jumping. But as I said, I don't plan. When I say I go with the flow, in the sense, whatever comes away, I think life has been very kind to me. Let's be honest about that. And when I say that, what I mean is that when I look back on hindsight, everything has added up to get me where I am. And I keep saying that when people introduce me and they're like, "Oh my God, Shruti, you must have planned to be where you are." And I said, "No." Somebody said, "Write a book." I wrote a book. Somebody said, "Be it, this is a TEDx opportunity. Do that." I did that. Somebody's, as I was telling you about the coaching thing, I had a problem. I thought this is the solution. I did that. I found an opportunity to teach at business schools. I did that. That's what I mean by going with the flow. And today, on hindsight, it has all added up. And that's what I mean by going with the flow.
Bit curious, right? As coaches, we emphasize a lot on setting a goal and working towards it. On the other hand, you're saying I go with the flow, whatever presents itself and whatever I get. How do you reconcile between now? this and that.
So each one of them has a goal. For example, if Embrace has to grow, Embrace has a goal. If I have to teach at business schools, there is a goal that okay, these are the kind of programs that I'd like to do. If I am talking about coaching, there is a goal that okay, so many hours have to be done by the end of a particular year. If I am doing diversity inclusion, this. So all of each one of them has a goal, but it's not that. But before I got into them, did I think them through that? Okay, should I become a coach? No, I didn't. So when you were asking me how do you juggle, for me it's as long as it falls within the periphery of or that I need to do 500 hours of coaching in 2022. As long as it adds to that, I will pick it up. I need to teach at least one entire credit course in this calendar year. As long as it fits into that, I am fine. I need to have 15 new clients for Embrace in this financial year. As long as it fits into that, I'm okay with it. So, which is why I said, this is the coaching question. You're making me go deeper and deeper.
All right. Okay. Just coming towards the end of our conversation here. What would you give to new coaches who are just getting started on the journey?
I would say go with the flow, but then you're going to ask me again. No, I think just know why you're doing what you're doing. A lot of times, I think one of the things I've seen off late with when I say off late in the last 1.5 years is that a lot of people are getting into coaching without realizing what it means, or getting into coaching, as you were saying, for money, for thinking that it's quick money, or thinking that it'll, give you a lot of recognition or give you a lot of respect. I think I jumped in, as I said, my reason for jumping in was different. But if you're jumping in for money, or if you're jumping in for, some instant gratification, it takes a while to come.
Is there anything to close?
No, it's just interesting. As I said, somewhere your questions were also making me reflect on my own thought process. And as I was saying, every conversation, and I think as coaches, we think a lot, right? We start just introspecting a lot. So I'm also now rethinking a lot of the questions that you've asked me, and I'm thinking um, of some of those answers. So maybe I'll come back to you with some of these questions and different answers later.
This is a beautifully for maybe take two of this entire video series with Shruti. And
Yes, same questions, different answers.
same question, different answer. Thank you so much, Shruti. Thank you for being with us. I am now just going to
Thank you, Ram.
stop
Thank you for
this.
having me.